So with that, so again, I'm super excited about having S on here because I feel like he can do, at least two different webinars on budget planning, just because of the pretty different contexts that we've worked together, or that I've seen, personal capital as it went, through, big late stage growth phase, and then post acquisition. S, on what, if you had to like, simplify it or crystallize it for everyone, what are the big differences between, startup phase versus later stage growth versus, post acquisition, part of a big public company, or part of a subsidiary of a big public company?
Yeah, I mean, as you said, there are three distinct phases to a company's life cycle, from startup to growth, to enterprise. And I was fortunate enough to see that happen to Personal Capital, as we started it from nothing. It was me and the co-founder, and eventually, we started hiring more people, building more products, and being
Raising some money in
successful.
there somewhere.
Yeah, raise money, be successful with the product market fit. The customers liked it, be able to raise more money, and then get to a point where the main idea has proven itself, and now you just want to scale it up and reach more customers. And then after that, you may go public or may get acquired, which the latter happened to us. We got acquired by Empower, which if you don't know them, they are the second largest 401k record keeper who had a foot in wealth management, but by acquiring Personal Capital, they wanted to accelerate their presence in the wealth management market. And so the way that I can distinguish between them in regards to budgeting, in the startup phase, I distinctly remember in one of the board meetings that one of the board members was telling to our founder that his definition of entrepreneur is someone who plans without any regards to budgets, money, resources. The founder is just, or the entrepreneur is just focused on what can we do and just march towards it. That was a good description of how the early years, for us happened. And, we were focused on the mission. We were focused on delivering on the vision. And, what mattered was the race against hitting, finding that market fit before we ran out of money. Now, in the growth phase, that's when you have a financial model that you take seriously, that you're planning against, and you have you actually start officially going through budgeting cycles and planning your next year budget. So that's when we did a lot more formal budgets and had to justify, the way that we're going to spend and the budget that we're proposing. And then, once you hit the enterprise, the focus changes from being aggressive and being able to sort of the race against finding the next market fit and staying alive, to what becomes important is that you do what you say and you deliver on what you promised. So reliability and predictability becomes really key, and that's why the budgeting process becomes much heavier effort to meet that value. So these are the differences between the three stages that I've experienced.
Got it. And I feel like just from knowing you, through, well, I didn't know you during the first phase, right? Early stage startup, all bets are off. You didn't, we probably didn't exist yet at that point. But knowing seeing the arc, especially after Empower acquired you, it felt like maybe that first year, some of the plan was kind of baked into the acquisition, because this was part of the we're buying you, we're going to integrate, and we're going to do these things. And so I'm guessing the part of what you had to do then was I'm curious, like, how much of this was like, you know, pre-acquisition versus like as soon as the acquisition's announced, then you have to like roll up sleeves and do it. But it almost felt like, you know, scoping work. There was known work, and then you just needed to scope it, like, and then to, you know, figure out what the investment was going to be required to do it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And going to the growth phase, I can actually give you tell you the like one of the reasons we actually looked for jellyfish like product was that we wanted to be accountable that we need to spend 20% of our engineering budget, of our resources, of our capacity on non-functional requirements, on NFR.
Mhm.
And you can see why that's important, because you're in growth mode, you're always growing, you're always scaling. You have to spend, and this is the determination that we came to, that you have to spend a good amount of your overall development and operation capacity on the non-functional requirements like scaling, security, CI/CD, developer productivity, all of that. And we wanted to find a tool that can show to the product management, to the business, that we are going to use 20%, we're not going to use more. And if we had to use less than 20%, like, we'll put it in the bank, and we'll put it on the tech debt credit, and find a way to pay it back later. So, in the growth mode is when you need to focus and find ways to explain how some of your budget needs to be spent on these non-functional requirements, NFRs, and be accountable to it, to the business. And like, a tool like Jellyfish was really helpful in driving that point home, because we were able to convince the business that this is what we need, and we're going to keep ourselves accountable.
Were you able to stick to the 20% guideline, or was this a thing that, like, once you started to weigh and measure it, like you started to say like, okay, we can either make it less because it's not as much as I thought, or it actually kind of needs to be more because it just turns out it's more.
We, I look at this as one of our success stories. We were able to stick to it, and we were able to do so much with that 20%. I mean, 20% is a lot, and especially when you count it. And we, like, for example, we moved from a monolith architecture or service-oriented architecture to microservices. We were able to move our cloud native application from the early orchestration to, to EKS and Kubernetes. So we were able to make big changes in our infrastructure within all that 20%. And the beauty of it is that, by segmenting that 20% and giving it to the engineers, they don't have to go have constant, push and pull with the product, with the business, that, we need to make this tech debt or enhancements to the structure. It's the budget they have. They know how best to utilize it. And over time, the business saw that the application got faster, operating it got cheaper, and the reliability of the system got better. So there were tangible impact to the business as well. So win-win.